Hello and welcome back to Insight Reads. Today we continue our exploration of The Snowball, Warren Buffett and the Business of Life, Part 2. In our previous episode, we discussed the different stages of Buffett's investment career. Now, let's delve into several of Buffett's key wealth principles. Buffett once used a vivid metaphor to describe wealth accumulation. Life is like a snowball. The important thing is finding wet snow in a long hill. Wet snow refers to low-cost, long-term capital, and the long hill represents companies with long-term competitive advantages. Essentially, using the lowest-cost funds to invest in companies with long-term growth prospects allows your wealth to grow exponentially under the power of compounding. Indeed, the stock market has no wizards. Those who succeed like Buffett often find wet snow in a long hill and stick to rolling their snowball day after day. Now let's discuss Buffett's three most important wealth principles: the inner scorecard, the power of compounding, and the full use of float. First, let's look at the inner scorecard, which is not only Buffett's life motto, but also his investment guideline. So, what is the inner scorecard? It's not complicated. It means always adhering to your own standards and principles when making decisions, rather than being overly concerned with others' opinions or external influences. As Buffett says, it's easier to follow the crowd than to stand out, but knowing yourself and being true to yourself is the key to success. Buffett's ability to adhere to his inner scorecard is largely influenced by his father. Buffett's father was a stockbroker who started his own brokerage firm during the Great Depression and later pursued his passion for politics, becoming a congressman. Whether founding a brokerage firm in a depressed market or standing firm on his principles in politics, Buffett's father exemplified independence and adherence to his inner scorecard. Buffett's father didn't focus excessively on external evaluations of his son. Instead, through words and deeds, he taught Buffett to respect his own ideas and to think freely. Even during Buffett's rebellious high school years, his father believed in his abilities and encouraged him to pursue his interests. The inner scorecard is arguably the most valuable legacy his father left him. Influenced by this, Buffett has remained calm, independent, and decisive in the unpredictable world of stock market investments. Each of Buffett's successful investments owes much to the inner scorecard. This principle was especially evident during the late 1990s when Buffett stood firm against the internet stock frenzy. In the late 1990s, when the internet sector was booming and internet stocks were soaring, Buffett, through extensive data analysis, concluded that internet stocks were highly overvalued. He believed that in the short term the market is a voting machine, but in the long term it is a weighing machine, meaning stock prices would ultimately reflect economic reality. At that time, many internet companies had low actual outputs compared to their stock prices. Based on this analysis, Buffett refused to buy internet stocks and warned publicly that most would eventually fail, leaving investors in trouble. Most people didn't agree with Buffett's judgment, and even some of his longtime followers turned to internet stocks. Meanwhile, Berkshire Hathaway's stock performance lagged behind market indices. Despite immense internal and external pressure, Buffett stood firm, convinced that the internet bubble would burst. In 2000, the internet bubble did burst, erasing much of the internet sector's wealth, while Buffett remained unaffected and continued to thrive in the market. The inner scorecard not only provided Buffett with spiritual strength, but also endowed him with extraordinary focus. This focus allowed Buffett to spend countless hours studying stocks and data and to maintain unwavering attention on his investment career for decades. This concludes the first principle, the inner scorecard. Next, let's explore Buffett's second wealth principle, the power of compounding. Compounding, or earning interest on interest, was called the eighth wonder of the world by Einstein and is hailed by many investment experts as a key to successful investing. Simply put, compounding involves adding interest to the principal to calculate returns. For example, if you have $1,000 at a 10% interest rate, after 1 year, you'll have $1,100, which becomes your new principal. In another year, it grows to $1,210, and so on. The longer the investment period and the higher and more stable the interest rate, the more evident the compounding effect and the faster the wealth growth. Most investors are thrilled when they first witness the power of compounding, seeing it as the path to realizing their financial dreams. Buffett is no exception. When did Buffett first encounter compounding, and how did he use it to grow his wealth snowball? It started with a book that changed his life. At age 10, Buffett read 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000, which was filled with practical business advice and money-making ideas. The most impactful part was the explanation of compounding. Buffett began rethinking the relationship between time, interest rates, and principal, realizing that the essence of compounding is the accumulation of capital over time. At age 10, Buffett announced to his friends that he would become a millionaire by age 35, which seemed like a fantasy during the Great Depression and World War II. However, Buffett believed in his dream and started taking steps to earn his seed money. In high school, Buffett first truly practiced compounding and saw its power. At 17, he bought a second-hand pinball machine for $25, persuading a barbershop owner to let him place it in the shop, where customers could play while waiting. The profits were split with the barber. After a week, the machine had made $50, giving Buffett a 100% return on his investment. He used the earnings to buy another pinball machine, and soon, barbershops around town were filled with his machines. This experience solidified Buffett's belief in his wealth dream. During his college years, Buffett's capital grew at an annual rate of over 60%, meaning his total capital doubled and then some each year. In his professional investment career, Buffett's annual compound growth rate remained above 20%, growing his wealth from millions to billions, with most of his wealth accumulated after age 50. Given compounding's power, why has Buffett become the world's richest man while many others haven't? It's because Buffett understands and practices the principle that to harness compounding successfully, one must choose mature stocks with stable growth and hold them long term. Most importantly, never lose the principle, a principle we discussed last time, the margin of safety. Before investing, assess risks and leave room for error. Don't put all your money in one basket and lose it all. This is Buffett's second wealth principle, the power of compounding. Now let's decode Buffett's third wealth principle, the full use of float. People often associate Buffett and his company, Berkshire Hathaway, with many American superstar companies like Coca-Cola, IBM, and the Washington Post. In reality, Berkshire Hathaway primarily operates in the insurance business, owning 8 insurance companies. In almost every annual letter to shareholders, Buffett first discusses the insurance business, calling it the growth engine and the secret of the snowball. Buffett loves the insurance business mainly because of the large amounts of float it provides. So what is float? In his 2013 letter to shareholders, Buffett explained that float refers to the money received from insurance premiums. Although this money isn't the insurance company's asset, the company can reserve a portion for near-term claims and invest the remaining funds, keeping the investment returns. Buffett first encountered float through GEICO, a company initially under his teacher Benjamin Graham. While studying at Columbia University, Buffett took an interest in GEICO and discovered it had a unique business model. GEICO sold directly to targeted customers, avoiding insurance brokers. To minimize risk and claim rates, GEICO focused on reliable government employees. This allowed GEICO to sell insurance at the lowest prices and retain a significant amount of float for investment due to low claim rates. Recognizing GEICO's potential, Buffett sold 75% of his stock holdings to buy 350 shares of GEICO, showing his confidence in its growth. In 1995, Buffett fully acquired GEICO, emphasizing cost control and innovative advertising and sales strategies through the internet and social media. GEICO grew from a modest car insurance company to the second largest commercial auto insurer in the US, with its float providing substantial investment returns for Buffett. However, it's important to note that not all insurance companies generate high returns, and not all investors in insurance can replicate Buffett's success. The key to Buffett's success with float lies in his ability to identify excellent companies and his unique investment insight. In summary, today we covered 3 of Buffett's key wealth principles. First, the inner scorecard means always adhering to your own standards and principles, regardless of others' opinions or external influences. This has helped Buffett remain calm, independent, and decisive in his investment career. Second, the power of compounding involves adding interest to the principal to calculate returns, with longer investment periods and stable interest rates leading to faster wealth growth. Buffett recognized and practiced compounding from a young age and used it to grow his wealth. Lastly, fully utilizing float refers to investing the money received from insurance premiums, with Buffett's success in this area stemming from his ability to identify promising insurance companies and make wise investments. Thank you for tuning in to Insight Reads. Join us next time as we continue exploring more insights from The Snowball, Warren Buffett, and the Business of Life.